Well, so often among black magicians and sorcerers, the clip off people, frickin', they always want their forces to seem like they come first. Their dark version in their mind always came first. In all their tales, they came first. But the thing is, this is why it's so important that we talk about fall from grace, because that comes later. Fall from fullness, that comes later. Fall from righteousness, that comes later. Fall from high station, that comes later. And the thing about primordial is their claim, the black magic person's claim, is just always, well, we're it's primordial, it's so primordial, so raw, so surging that it clearly came first. Yet the one main thing that you can tell that there's deception in that is the fact that perverse and primordial are never the same on the cosmic scale. When it comes to the cosmos doing the first thing with any sort of a being or perception, no matter how grandiose or how small, no matter how confusing or easy to explain and describe, no matter where on the scale of life or being or perception at all whatsoever, perverse and primordial are never in the same place. And when it comes to all of their stuff that they serve, that they glorify, that they worship, as much as they always try to say that it is them, as in they are God, no matter how much they try to say it is them, first of all, it's always externalized. It's more externalized than the inner light. Second of all, it's always perverse. It's extremely perverse. You can't even really work with it unless you're willing to give in to that primordial or primal or raw or surging, that sort of potent at the beginning of all things in their minds. Even though it's not the beginning of all things, that's everything I'm trying to go over here and talk about and discover, is that you have to be obscene, you have to blaspheme, you have to be completely perverted, you have to be willing to do anything with the perversion, such as the whole adrenochrome thing that we're just barely uncovering now. So that whole adrenochrome thing is the essence and heart of black magic, and why black magic, and why it even does what it does and tries so hard to be what it is that's a question of which came first, the chicken or the egg, sort of that whole thing. Which came first, the black magic or the need to drain an adrenochrome, an adrenaline gland from a child? Basically, it's not so much the adrenaline gland as it's the child. Which came first, the black magic or the perverted stuff with the children? It's they're one and the same, because, like I was saying, perversion, their version of it's so ancient, the reason it's so holy to them is supposedly because it's so ancient and primordial and primal and just surging and uncapturable. Yet it's completely codependent and completely not Machiavellian, toxic, narcissistic. It's not unhinged and free at all. It's never unhinged and free, based on the black merits of its entire codependency. So, if you pulled it away from the very thing it's codependent of, it is like that one article I read on the clip off. It's like pulling a flame off a coal. Once you pull a flame off a coal, it dwindles out, and that's the very thing that it hates and wants to claim it is capable of doing and has done since the beginning of time, and projects all over what is really the foremost and firstborn in the first thought, in the first conception, the first waves of actual real cosmic being. So yeah, unperverted, by the way, unperverted. That's a key word. That's the whole thing. Is not only is it primitive, but it's more primitive and primordial, yet more holy because it's not perverted. It's not perverse. So even the primitive is not the same primitive of the black magician. It has to be completely removed from the perception of what the black magician, the Black Lodge sorcerer would want you to believe about what that word primitive implies, which is that the perversion is the true divinity. That's everything that they try to get you to believe. That's everything they try to get out there into the world as the true doctrine. And all they've known is what's not true. Their whole force is based in, labeled as correctly over and over and over again, deceiving, left and right. Yeah, there's still the people loyal to those lodges who are like, well, that is where the freedom happens. They're not even like, that's where the truth happens. They're just like, well, that's where the freedom happens. That's how you get free, and that's how you end up in the true primitive forces through the most perverted rituals and stuff, ceremonies, loyalties. Okay, and they're like, that's so funny because according to their whole thing is you break free of all loyalties. Yeah, how you're just loyal to something perverse, and you never can break loyalty with something perverse, or you're just becoming one of those pussy ass forces of light, who came way later and just tried to steal and take over their dark primitive nature. So yeah, you see you see the whole little conundrum in their philosophy there. So perverted is not the same as primitive, and that's their whole bet. That's their whole bet to try to prove and reinforce who they are. So primitive is also very much in the righteous, unperverse, foremost of light, hasn't fallen from grace. And it's not that it doesn't enjoy itself, it just doesn't enjoy itself or access bliss through victimizing others as much as supernaturally and humanly possible. It doesn't interact with others in a way that is harsh or abrasive or trying to gain for itself its own definition of power, etc., based off the sacrificing of the will and the comfort of other life around. So there you have it.